In this first section of the course, we're going to look at the iPhone camera itself, the exposure triangle, and some of the strengths and weaknesses of the iPhone's camera. The first thing that you should know before taking pictures with your iPhone is what camera your iPhone model has. This chart has each iPhone since the iPhone 11 and the iPhone SE third generation. You can pause this part of the video or view this slide separately to look into your specific iPhone model. If you don't see your iPhone model here, a quick web search should bring up all the information that you need. Let's rewind for a second here and quickly look at how photographs are taken. In order for a camera to reproduce an image, it relies on something referred to as the exposure triangle. In digital cameras, this consists of shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. Another important element that changes the output of your image is white balance. This refers to how warm or how cool the image appears and if there's any green or magenta tint present. Generally, we want to keep our white balance neutral. Now, before our heads start to spin with all of these new terms, we can all rest easy knowing that our iPhone operates in an automatic mode and is going to determine all of these settings for us. I still find it important to educate you on this. Any steps that you make beyond your iPhone in the future is going to require you to have at least some understanding of what these elements are and how they work together. With any camera, there are strengths and there are weaknesses. Let's just first say that the iPhone is one of the best and most accessible point and shoot cameras out there. It's a great form factor, it's nicely packaged, and it's loaded with great features. Because of its wide-angle lens and its unassuming look, I think that the iPhone is a heavy contender when it comes to street photography. When you're taking photos in the street, you often want to recede into the background in order to capture a fleeting moment in its truest form. Once you start bringing full camera systems into the street, people start to take notice of you more and start to act unnaturally or just simply get uncomfortable with the situation. But when you're shooting with an iPhone, people don't normally turn heads walking by you because it's quite commonplace to see people taking photos with an iPhone. I think it's also a fantastic travel camera. You can take it anywhere with you, which already puts it at a huge advantage over a dedicated camera system, which gets hard to, let's say, hike with or travel long distances with. And with its 26mm lens, again, it really shines in this situation where you're often wanting to capture full scenes. Now, while it's good to understand the strengths of the iPhone's camera, I believe that it's just as important to understand its weak spots. The iPhone's camera biggest weak spot is undoubtedly its sensor size. Because the iPhone is so small, it can only physically fit so large of a sensor. Apple is pushing this limit with each new iPhone model, but it's still only fractions of the size of many entry-level cameras. Compared to larger camera sensors, small sensors have more difficulty absorbing light, capturing detail, producing clean images, and isolating subjects. Apple is introducing more optical zooms to its Pro line, which we will get into a little bit later, but for everyone else, the digital zoom is not a strong suit for the iPhone, which means that you're generally stuck using its 26mm lens, which really isn't all that bad of a thing. Lastly, and this may be more of a personal preference, I find that the processing and computation that iPhones do to images is often heavy-handed. For instance, the sharpening is a little extreme and the HDR can give you some weird results in the wrong situations, but there are ways to turn off some of these settings, which we will be getting into in the next section. Before we move on from this section, I just want to come back around to mention how incredible the iPhone truly is. It is an excellent point and shoot camera and something that many other smartphone manufacturers and cameras really can't compete with. I've taken some of my favorite photos on my iPhone. It's the camera that is always with me and allows me to capture moments that would otherwise be missed. Not enough can be said about how iPhones make photography accessible. I'm still rocking a 12 mini and I'm able to take some great images, even though it's not one of the flagship pro model iPhones. So I hope that instead of focusing on the weaknesses, you'll choose to look at the positive aspects of the iPhone's camera and be excited for all of the things that you'll be able to capture with the new knowledge that this course is going to provide you.